Thank you for joining us once again for today's qualifying session. Sit back, relax, and enjoy what we hope will be a fantastic contest for pole position. And as we wait, poised for the start of what will hopefully be a thrilling qualifying, why don't you tell us, Anthony Davidson, about the things you can do to really get the most out of a car in a session like this?
Well, you're largely limited by the Parc Fermé regulations, of course. Back in the old days, pre-2004, you'd work on both a qualifying setup and a race setup over practice, and then swap them over after qualifying. So the race car was quite different at times to the qualifying car. Nowadays, though, you have to find a compromise that works for both. There are a few things that you can still adjust during the session, such as the differential, the brake bias, and the front wing angle, but that's about it. So it's more about optimizing what you do have and adapting your own style to suit the track conditions.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining. Fantastic. That was the fastest lap. That's the fastest lap so far. Well done.
Ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. De Vries, Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about De Vries. They're still relatively new to a sport which does have a high learning curve and, of course, little tolerance for mistakes.
That's right, it is a difficult environment to come into. In junior categories, you're competing against drivers with similar levels of experience. But some of these guys in Formula One have been there for over a decade. But I have to say, in this case, it's so far so good.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. De Vries lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen, and Russell. Albon, Sainz, Stroll, and Roman Grosjean. Perez, Magnussen, Max Verstappen. They've taken a grid penalty. And Kvyat, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Antonio Giovinazzi and Pierre Gasly. Kubica and Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Map is good, but we need to learn the gears, so go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please. The rest of the grid is forming up. Be patient and watch for the lights. Advise moving to mix 2. Fuel to mix 2. Confirmed. Exit, exit now. Okay, you only have to stop once now. One stop left. Okay, clear. A new strategy is available on the MFD. Copy. Pit now, pit now. Go now. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. There's 4 laps of fuel remaining. Great drive. We did it. Good job.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. Let's have a quick look at how the driver standings have changed. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
Let's move on to the constructors. No change in the top spot, but with today's points, their hold on the lead is getting weaker. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. It was more like Dodgems than Formula One today, wasn't it? Things are looking up after last week, aren't they? Things looked close between you and your rival for a bit, but you came out on top, didn't you? How do you feel the weather affected the outcome today? Great. Well, that's everything.
Great work this weekend. It was fantastic to see you up on that podium. Looks like one of your rivals has also been invited to a historical event. This could be a good opportunity to play up your rivalry for the press and expand your reputation.